Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So two pretty big pieces of news here. So we have Avatar in Concert, and then we'll get to some of the new images that have been put out for the Netflix live action Avatar. Both of these came out after I had recorded and uploaded my video yesterday. Specifically this was literally, I think, posted about 2 or 3 minutes after I had hit publish on the video, so just about missed this one yesterday. But anyway, Avatar The Last Airbender in Concert. So it's finally happening in the early months of 2024 across a couple of different locations, which we will get to in just a second. Avatar, the soundtrack, will be in concert. So you can see here, the tweet specifically has information that isn't on the website, which is that tickets go on sale 10 a.m. Eastern on October 20th. So that is 2 days from now. They will go live at 10 a.m. Eastern American time. They link then the website, which we'll go to in just a second, but you can see attached to it is this really, really nice new piece of art here with Aang, the music and iconic scenes from the series brought to life by a live orchestra, composed and arranged by Jeremy Zuckerman. AvatarinConcert.com, Nickelodeon, Viacom, all the usual stuff. So hugely exciting here. This is obviously a big positive for Avatar that we're getting this soundtrack release plus in concert. I do think, even though it doesn't seem like it's maybe obviously attached, this is that kind of support from kind of Paramount showing their faith and confidence in Avatar. In the video yesterday, I of course talked about that article where Ramsey Naito was talking about kind of franchise stuff, and in it, like I mentioned, like the SpongeBob on Broadway. Well, here's a somewhat equivalent thing for Avatar, kind of highlighting that even though we haven't got our animation stuff yet and news on that isn't particularly clear, other stuff happening in the background, and the soundtrack is probably one of the biggest pieces of, showing that confidence that this is a thing that hadn't happened for years and years and years, and now in the space of like a year or two, we're getting the soundtrack officially released and in concert. So here is the website here. So there is a trailer and stuff like that. But you can see here, it covers quite a few of the details here. An over 2 hour show. I think in the FAQ it says it's about 2.5 hours. Live orchestra, in perfect harmony with highlights and favorite moments from the series. You can see here, full orchestra, various different musical instruments, Jeremy Zuckerman. It's going to be pretty exciting. The trailer here, I won't go into it kind of like too much. Just because clips are a bit weird on Avatar, but you can sort of see they have some stuff there to kind of highlight kind of what it's going to be like. So interesting enough, but for the most part, it is just clips of the show in that trailer. There is some music, of course, but I don't think it's important to focus on it too much right now. So at the moment, tour dates, we have 4 dates, 4 locations. So January 21st in the Royal Festival Hall in London. That's the first one. 4 days later in Paris, France, in Le Grand Rex, we have the French date, and then 2 in America. So February 24th, Golden Gate Theatre, San Francisco, and also March 2nd in the King's Theatre in Brooklyn. But they do also say more shows coming soon. So we'll see what they add here. Obviously, there's probably going to be a demand enough where it will warrant quite a few extra dates, because I assume you're going to get quite a lot of popularity from various different parts of America, so you're probably going to want to add different shows just to open it up for more easy access to various parts of America. Obviously, internationally, it gets a little bit more kind of complicated about like how kind of in-depth do you actually go here, in that even though like I'm from Ireland, relatively close to the UK, I would still much prefer to go to this if it was in like Dublin, just so I don't have to travel basically to a different country. And I think that's probably like most people's preference, but they'll do it if they absolutely have to. But obviously you know, only one kind of technical kind of European kind of date here, and then bunch of continents not even kind of addressed here. So like, will there be an Australia show? You know, like Brazil has a huge Avatar following. Will they do a date in Brazil? That's the sort of stuff that you kind of wonder about. But still, hugely exciting. Again, tickets go on sale in 2 days' time. I don't know specifically, is that just going to be every single one at once, or is that like when the first tickets go on sale, or is that just the American ones? But that's what they've said about it so far. In the FAQ, they just go over a couple of ideas here. You know, what is this actually like? And interestingly, it says here, it's a bespoke compilation of the show's 3 seasons shown on a full-size cinema screen. So I'm guessing this isn't just the new Book 1 Water soundtrack, but it also does include like stuff from, I suppose, the new Book 2 Earth and Book 3 Fire soundtracks, probably in a way confirming that they are going to happen. Any doubt about that, just because that first release isn't quite here yet, probably goes out the window now with the confidence from them getting a full concert kind of whole thing. So that is very, very exciting. How long is the performance? Approximately 2 hours 30 minutes. Oh, including a 20-minute intermission. So yeah, just over 2 hours. Otherwise, just relatively basic details here, highlighting who's involved. And then, yes, there will be announcements about other dates coming soon-ish. I'm assuming they are literally probably just going to wait to see how the dates go in terms of, like, will it sell out? I'm assuming probably it will, but it will probably depend on like exactly just how much demand there is in specific regions. Like, you know, we assume the American dates will both sell out and probably justify at the very least a couple more American dates, but it's probably more about like how, you know, far afield are they going to go kind of internationally is probably more of the big thing there. But that is an exciting thing to kind of keep an eye out for, because I think this is just a really fun thing that, like, if fans are obviously going to want to attend this if they can, so hopefully everyone gets at least somewhat of an opportunity to attend one date of this that's somewhat close by. Then we have the new Netflix live action screenshots here. Similar to the first batch, it is just highlighting characters once again. So we got 4 the first time, and now we have 5 new images. So we get Zuko again, but this time without the helmet on. So again, armor I think looks pretty good. Obviously they're making the choice to not overly emphasize as much of the red, but that was kind of there anyway. But you know, they it's not as colorful as you would maybe expect. Obviously, we get a better look at the kind of hairstyle here. Again, it's Book 1 Zuko, so it's the kind of bald with ponytail kind of look. It'll be interesting to see, you know, in later seasons if we get there, how he looks with the more kind of fan favorite kind of designs for the character. Most of the discussion does seem to be about, like, is the scar well done enough? Should it be more kind of visibly like a scar, or are they doing the right thing here, making it like visible but not like this like thing that you were just drawn to every single time you look at the character? It's one of those things where, like, obviously not having too crazy of an effect maybe means that makeup doesn't need to take as long and you can be more kind of agile in production, but it's always going to be a back and forth. Ultimately, I think within the show, it never, I think, overly emphasizes that the kind of like truly brutal nature of the scar, just the idea of like the significance of him getting it from his father, that it is a visible reminder on his face of all this stuff that has happened. So I'm relatively okay with it. Again, as I'm going to be saying kind of, I think, a lot as we go through these are just the visuals. Like, most of what this show is will depend on the performance of these actors, what the writers have written for them to actually say, how they perform it, what episodes they actually do, how the adaptation actually goes. That will determine what this show really is. And we can get used to the way a lot of these characters look if they represent the characters well in terms of the scenes that they have to actually show off. So Zuko is fine. Again, we need to see actual dialogue and some of those kind of classic scenes to see how well Zuko actually is in live action. Then we have our first look at some characters that we haven't seen before yet. So we have Fire Lord Ozai, of course played by one of the more notable actors in the show, Daniel Day Kim. Looks good, and because he's not like in kind of a battle kind of armored uniform and it's just kind of his typical kind of Fire Lord robes, I like that the color comes out, that it's clearly red and gold, little bit of the kind of black and gold on the shoulders and stuff like that, but it looks very good. Clothing you would expect from royalty, basically. The kind of hairstyle, the beard, kind of nice. The kind of hairpiece here, the artifact for the Fire Lord. All looks pretty good. Kind of faded into the background, kind of blurred out, but you can sort of see the bit, I suppose, behind the throne with the fire always going up. Looks pretty good. Eager to see what the performance is like. But probably the most notable thing here is just that straight away they are not attempting to hide Ozai's face until season 3 like they do in the animation. I think that's fine. You have a very notable actor, use him. That's the correct thing to do. Now again, Ozai doesn't have that many scenes. It's mostly kind of, I suppose, just the kind of flashback kind of Agni Kai scene towards the end when he kind of sends Azula out. How much more are we getting? Are we getting more sort of like the leadership of the Fire Nation actually planning what they want to do next? So like, will we see like Zhao and Ozai interact? Those are the sort of things that we're maybe expecting in terms of maybe like fill-in scenes. But Azula is in this season, and it seems like beyond just maybe the one expected scene, so it'll be interesting to see what they do there. Here's Iroh, of course. And again, very, very cool because he's not wearing kind of like a military uniform. You can see the colors coming through. So the gold, the red. You can see the kind of like undershirt in a way. It's kind of like, that looks like the kind of color scheme that they're going to go for, I suppose, if they do Zuko's Book 3 outfit. So you can kind of see a little bit of maybe that style of thing here. But I like it. Just the kind of pattern of the fabric here. They have the beard down, of course. The top knot looks pretty good. But they're going to need to show us what the performance is like. What is this actor going to be like saying those lines? And what lines are they? That's the key point here. Then we have Azula here. So again, Azula in military uniform. You can see there's a bit of the red underneath, but otherwise not a lot of red really coming through necessarily with Azula. I think what really comes across quite clearly with this actress is that it kind of highlights the age of the character. I think Azula is one of those characters who you often forget is only 14 because she has such a kind of dominating, commanding personality. You forget just how young she actually is. And so this actress actually looks young. And so this is where I think the performance is really going to, I think change people's minds. Because I think I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, she doesn't quite look like Azula in the way I kind of want her to do. Does she have maybe too much of like a baby face? But this is where the performance comes in. She may look like this, but if the scenes are directed well, if the dialogue that she has and the performance is good, you're not going to care that much about like the exact preference for like how the character should look in live action if she's saying the right things and being and representing Azula in the right way. So that's the big thing there. I do wonder, like, is this going to be her outfit for the entire show, or is this just for specific kind of moments where she's acting on behalf of maybe like the military a little bit more? Will we see, more of a classic full red Azula kind of attire? That's kind of the big kind of takeaway from this, is kind of like, is this just an outfit we'll see once or twice, or will we see something more? In the background, like, is this Ty Lee and May, you kind of get the silhouettes. It's obviously super blurred, but like they're roughly the colors of like Ty Lee's outfit, and I think you can sort of see the kind of sleeves going down, that like this could fit for Ty Lee's outfit, because we know they have actors for like Azula May and Ty Lee. And then is this May in the background? Kind of looks like it, but a lot depends on like what way are they doing that, because obviously in the show Azula only kind of forms her team as we start book 2. She's only sent out at the end of book 1, and then we see it form at the start of book 2. But clearly we're establishing that like they seem to be together here earlier. So I don't know, are they going to do her forming her team towards the end so it's ready for book 2? It'll be interesting to see what they do there. And then last but not least, we have Zhao. So interesting, because like this is like the second live action depiction of Zhao, and in a way the second one that they've gone in a very different direction, I think. And this is where we get into the idea of like Zhao in the animation is this super, like in a way, like tall, really well kind of built, powerful character, and that is his persona. He is powerful. He has a little bit of kind of, you know, political acumen to keep rising through the ranks, but is ultimately maybe not the most skilled firebender out there. I would say both the Last Airbender movie and maybe this depiction of the character is, I think, attempting to maybe get across that idea a little bit more, that like he is more of a political character, a schemer who is planning, and he gets through the ranks with his kind of information. He's just skilled enough to be dangerous, but like he is not the most skilled firebender. That kind of is the character of Zhao. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what the performance is here, because in the Last Airbender movie, it was a very, very different style of character in many ways. But this is going to be a very important role. For Zuko, the role Zhao plays throughout Book 1 is quite important. And especially with relatively recent kind of rumored information about like maybe some of the plot details surrounding, you know, the idea of like Moonslayer Zhao. How they're going to go about doing that. They could lean the character in a kind of more calculating direction. That could definitely work, but you kind of wonder like how physically imposing is he going to be in the role? Like for the Agni Kai from episode 3, will they do that, or will they kind of maybe skip over that? If they do it, you know, how well is he going to come across in that regard? That's a big thing. We also get a look at some kind of Fire Nation guards. I guess firebenders, because he doesn't seem to be holding a weapon. Again, not a lot of red. Not a lot of red on Zhao even. Just the kind of sashes here on the front. And then on the guards, you can just see maybe a little bit around the waist. I think my thing is in the way. But a little bit of red there. Otherwise, they're just going for the kind of standard armored look. It's interesting. It's imposing. But I almost wonder, in this case, why didn't they just go for the kind of typical, like the animation accurate design? I get it. Maybe it leans a little bit more towards the colors, and they've gone for more of the kind of metallic kind of look here. These are just design decisions that they've made. That will be interesting to see if it fully kind of plays out that way, you know, in the show that we actually get. The main thing I would say though on this is just that, like the first batch of images, it doesn't really change how I view the show, positively or negatively. I think it looks solid, but I'm not blown away. And I'm not immediately like, this looks terrible. You know, there's pros and cons to what's happening here, but mostly it's like solid. I need to see this in action, in motion, to really judge what's actually going on here, because it's an adaptation. And I think all that really matters is, you know, getting the trailer, the release date, and actually seeing what this thing is in the end. Because that's the point. It's like, I don't look at these images and immediately get super, super excited. it's interesting because it is finally like news beginning to hit for a big Avatar project, but because it's a big Avatar project that is quite low on my priority list, in that to me like Roku novel, Mako comic, other comics are above this because it's actual new story content, whereas this is just an adaptation. But as for where we will get our news, what this basically is, this is effectively a teaser ahead of Netflix Geeked Week. And that is obviously happening between November 6th and 12th. And if you watch the trailer for this, they confirm Avatar is going to be there. From what I could see, there isn't any obvious Avatar images in the trailer, so there's no need to go over that. But in the schedule for this, you can see Thursday, November 9th, live at 1 p.m. PST, exclusive clips, teasers, and breaking news from your favorites, including Avatar The Last Airbender. So Thursday, November 9th is when there's going to be Avatar The Last Airbender news. Now, I have to assume, super heavy chance, feels all but confirmed, has to be a proper trailer for Avatar The Last Airbender, and we assume an exact release date. I think that's what is needed for this show at this point, because if the rumors are true, and it's coming maybe February or March, now is probably the time to make that announcement and make it clear when this thing is actually coming out. Show confidence in it. The fact that they were willing to show a little bit off as a teaser, basically what the previous big news was, just screenshots, they are now using as like a prelude to the actual bigger news. I think that's a good sign that they're actually going to go quite big on this, and this will be the major announcement. I think the fact that it's listed first here on this day, Aang is center of the kind of thumbnail image, that speaks to the fact that they're going to go in on this one quite heavily. I'd be shocked if they don't deliver a proper trailer and release date here. That's the kind of ultimate way it is. I think it's time to finally get the marketing properly going on this thing if you want it to be a success. So yeah, that has been the video. So let me know what your thoughts are on all of this stuff here. So Avatar in Concert, and then some new Netflix Avatar images, plus the promise effectively of new news in just a couple of weeks in early November. So let me know what your thoughts are on everything there, but that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.